how do you run mindfully? Well, first of all, we need to know what mindfulness is a little bit, in our experience. So that's why all of our workshops will include just some guided mindfulness practice in stillness. Nothing to do with running or movement initially. So we get an understanding and a sense for what mindfulness is pointing us to. Then slowly we bring that into some movement, which could be mindful walking or some kind of gentle qigong movement that Stuart's also trained in to teach. And then introducing the running foundation, as Stuart was explaining earlier on, with how to hold your body, the kind of posture that's conducive to running, and combining that with this sense of relaxation through the body. And then there's different focal points for the run itself that we introduce. And on the workshop coming up, we'll introduce a few of those focal points, but there's a whole number of them. So then we use those focal points in the run. So we take it out and we practice, and we also introduce pauses or stops within the run itself. So if we've become a little bit caught up and carried away with our habits and distracted, which we will do, and we expect to do that because that's what the mind generally does, we just have a moment to stop and pause and check in, and we go through a little bit of a mindful process before again continuing on with the run and using our mindful running foundation and focus, and also discussing and sharing and inquiring with each other. So how was it? What did you notice? Becoming curious about our experience and learning through that process as well, and getting the feedback from the instructors and just little pointers here and there, so we can refine our practice for the next time that we go out. And then consistency, like everything else, is key. And when we're trying to learn a new way of being, a new skill, just consistently practice and be curious and about that journey, really.
What I'd add to that as well is when we so as compared to next week when we're offering a half-day workshop, we also do longer courses with people where we work with them repeatedly. So the last thing we did was a 4-week course. We did four half-day sessions, one week after another. And we give people home practice between times so that when they come back, there's something to reflect on. And so the important point really to share there is that the home practice is not just about running. Actually, we only have them running maybe 3 times in that week, but also what they're doing outside of that are stillness-based, sitting-based mindfulness practices and various other activities. So what I would say, certainly in terms of the kind of the how do you do it, but also learning mindful running as a skill, I would certainly advocate, if you just go out and run and work with the techniques that we teach on the workshop, it wouldn't be the same as also committing yourself if you don't have a mindfulness-based practice of any description and any background in that. I think it's well worth also learning to commit to some form of practice outside of running. That can be 10 minutes a day, or it can be longer and doesn't have to be daily. But there's something there. We talk about cultivating the muscle of mindfulness, so it's a skill to be learned. And so I guess from a teaching perspective for Cesare and I, because we also have a mindfulness-based background and a regular practice, then it's not that we just train through the running. There's that stream of practice coming into what we offer as well, and it absolutely adds to and enriches the experience. And sometimes, interestingly, with running, because of the physicality of it, as in, because there can be a kind of a natural busyness with running in an interesting kind of way, it's useful to have that contrast as a counterpoint of learning something about the habits of the mind when we're still, and learning the differences when we're engaged in movement as well. So I absolutely advocate for what we might call practice on the cushion or on the chair, as well as on the trail, as a means of really learning mindful running as a skill.